So, not sure I'm really playing enough disc golf to warrant doing an in-the-bag update video, but you're getting one anyway. Here's a look at all my plastic as of mid-November 2018. Some new stuff, some old stuff. We'll see. Let's get into it. Putters. I have a soft caltrop and I have an opto caltrop. The soft caltrop is my main approach disc, mostly for open shots. Layups to the basket, I can just throw it strong. I know exactly what it's going to do. It will not overshoot the basket. It will have a nice fade when it slows down. It'll stick and land when it slows down. And it's just an incredibly trustworthy disc. It's something that, yeah, I just make sure I throw it with enough power to get it there, and it always gets right near the basket, keeps me inside the circle, and gives me a makeable putt 9 times out of 10. Love this disc. Occasionally we'll throw it off the tee if I'm not carrying this one. This is the one I kind of like for tee shots. It is an opto. It's a little bit more stable because it's fresher, and this plastic will just last forever with such a slow disc that doesn't get thrown that much. Really just use it for steep hyzers and like little putter hyzers off the tee. Works out great for that though. Fantastic disc. If I was going to try to throw a little forehand off the tee, I'd probably use a caltrop as well, and I probably wouldn't do a very good job with the shot. Next, magnets. I got 4 magnets that I'm carrying at this point. Sometimes I'll only carry 3. I may not carry both of these, but I'll always have at least one of them. This one, old beat up orange soft magnet, one of my go-tos. I'm kind of known for these, I guess. I've gotten a bunch of my friends throwing them. I've recommended them countless times here on my channel. And just really hard to go wrong with a nice beat up soft magnet. These orange ones especially are great. 168, love this thing. Laser straight on a hyzer flip with touch. It'll hold a turnover. It's great for approaches, great for longer putts as well, since it's nicely broken in. It'll float for a long time, and it's just a tremendous disc. I like this one off the tee. If I'm carrying both of them, I'll probably throw tee shots with that one and throw more of my technical approaches with this one. It's kind of my straight to understable complement to the caltrop, just for layups to the basket. I actually found that this one works really well on a long putt as well. I nailed a nice long, like maybe 35-40 footer up the hill the other day with this thing. Saved par. Good disc. Really like this one. This is an old 4-chain, and I think it's max weight. I got it just the other day, just as beat up and perfectly broken in as I like them. It was a great score. I got an orange one very similar too. That's backup right now. And then I'm putting with Jawbreakers. I'd actually put this one in the bag, this fresh one, because this guy was starting to get pretty beat, as you can see here. It's got some wear to it, but I still feel really confident with this one inside the circle and outside the circle. So this is my main putter still. This one I'm kind of breaking in. I'll also throw it if I want a little bit more stability. So yeah, good tee shot disc that I'm breaking in to be a backup, but they're somewhat interchangeable. This one just has a little bit more fade, and I've hit so many putts with this one that I still really feel confident with it. Moving on to mid-ranges. Well, the next one's a little bit sad for me, guys. I'm sure you've heard the news by now. Just came out recently, Latitude 64 and Ricky Wysocki are parting ways. Does that jeopardize the future of the Ricky Compass? I don't know. Obviously, it won't be the Ricky Compass anymore. Will they still produce the Compass? I would think so. It's a great mold, and it flies amazing, and I love these. So if they keep making them, I'll probably still keep throwing these. If they were to go out of production, there's a possibility I would stop, but I have plenty, and they fly so good that I'm likely to continue throwing them. I love these discs. This is an old pre-world champion Ricky Compass. This one I use for turnovers pretty much 9 times out of 10. Occasionally I'll throw a different, like a straight shot with it, but pretty much don't. I pretty much only throw it left to right. Holds a turnover beautifully, and it doesn't turn and burn ever. I have to give it the angle. It doesn't naturally turn, but if I put it on that angle, it holds it like a dream. So that's usually what I use that disc for. Then I have a retro. This one is just like kind of a nice beater that I can have. I can throw in risky situations. It has a good feel when it's wet. And it's just a nice kind of thrower compass that I like to have laying around. I don't throw it a whole lot. It's pretty stable as fresh. I'll see how it breaks in over time. It might be a good backup for my turnover as it breaks in. And then this one's probably my favorite one. This one was given to me by my friend Anthony. This one is the Gold X, 2-time Ricky World Champion. So it's got the little bit more stability to it, a little bit firmer feel, amazing grip, and it's really, really consistent, smooth hyzer mid-range. It always has fade to it. It does the same thing every time I throw it. I'm really accurate with this disc, and I really trust it. One of my most consistent mid-ranges that I have. I love that thing. Then, On to perhaps my favorite disc on the market, undoubtedly my favorite mid-range I've ever had, and I really love my compasses as well. So, Gobies. I got 3 of them in the bag right now. This one is my first one. I love this thing. Not even on my radar, but DD sent me one of these to test and review. Anthony hooked me up, and man, the thing is just sweet. 2 different Anthony's, by the way. But yeah, Anthony from DD hooked me up with this one to test and review, and I fell in love with it immediately. First field testing session, I was hooked, and this thing has been in my bag ever since. This one I'm using a little bit more for longer approaches. Maybe like a par 4 approach, or if maybe I get into trouble early and I have a long second shot to try to get up and down to save a par or something. This thing works really well. Great disc, kind of a little bit longer than a magnet, a little bit more stable. Obviously it's faster, but it's similar in terms of what I would use it for, just a little bit longer range, or considerably longer range. And then I have these 2 that I'm throwing more off the tee. This one I have been throwing a ton since I got it, this kind of smoke gray first run. This thing, fantastic. Pretty much all Gobies you're going to run into are 175, by the way. All my compasses are max weight. I'll usually forget to give you guys weights on in the bag videos. Anyway, this one, little bit of dome to it, so it's a little bit more floaty. It seems a hair slower as well. It doesn't cut through the air quite as much as my orange one, or this one. This one's brand new. Just got it the other day. Worked a trade for this thing. It was already used, but I put this orange rim on it with a little eye-dye poly, and I thought it came out really good. Good looking disc. It's unique. You're not going to see another Gobi like that unless you or somebody else dyed it. And I dig it. This one flies really straight, laser straight, and I can throw it pretty hard, and it just holds that straight line. I really like it so far. I haven't thrown it a ton, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far out of that thing. I love my mid-ranges in general. I feel super dialed with them, and they're working out great. Final, I have the blank deco die, so it's basically a matte white gold line plastic anchor. It's kind of unique. You don't see a lot of these out there. Big bead, Overstable mid-range, the anchor. Really amazing complement to those other 2 discs. It's a perfect layer from those to this, because this thing is just really overstable. But it's not a meat hook, but it will fly into the wind no matter what. So this is a disc I trust more than any disc I've ever had of any class in the wind. The anchor just works out really well for me. This one was a gift from Dave Feldberg, since I helped them out with their Instagram page for the Next Gen Tour. He sent me this thing in a care package, and it went right in the bag because it feels really great. And it's kind of unique, that pretty rad white blank anchor. Good flyer. I don't throw that thing a ton, but when I need it, it's really great. Okay, fairway drivers. I have 2 Furies. This one's 165 grams. This one I'll throw for any kind of hard turning shot. If I want it to, I'll rip it on a hyzer, let it stand up and turn over. Threw it a couple times for that the other day. Works out great. It won't turn and burn if you start it on hyzer, where it's less likely to, and like kind of roll out on you. Great roller disc. Great turnover disc. I will use this if I really need to fight a sharp turnover, because I don't really have a forehand. This is what I'll use for that. It'll hold that left to right really nicely and just completely hold that turnover easy. Great roller disc. All my flippy utility shots, this thing is great. And I had the best ace of my life with this disc. Stub Stewart State Park, hole 7, downhill turnover. It's like 330, 40 feet downhill, straight into the bucket. Love that thing. This one is an older run, and it's a little bit heavier. I think it's 170 flat, and this thing flies a little bit more stable. I can basically use it interchangeably. If I just give this one a little more power, a little more angle, they work about the same. It's kind of a backup, but it is a little bit more stable. So I can throw this one if I want it to hold straight a little bit longer and have a little bit less natural turn. But I also have been throwing the Escape again. I have 2 Escapes in the bag. This is an old pre-Sweden one that's 170, and this disc, honestly, probably pretty interchangeable with that other Fury. They're really close. I need to throw them back to back to see if there's really a need to carry both of these, but that's not a big deal for me to have 2 of each of my fairway drivers. The Escape, I have 2 of them. This one's just a regular, newer run, stock, 169 Lucid Escape. This one's the older pre-Sweden edition, one of the early runs. Essentially, I just wanted something that was similar speed and glide to my Furies, but a lot more straight stable. They're not overstable by any means. They bomb, they got a ton of glide. I can throw turnovers and rollers with them and stuff as well if I want to. I just got to give them more angle, more power. but really great compliment to the Furies to have more stability. I've been throwing this particular one quite a bit, and getting a lot of good functional shots out of this thing. It goes about as far as a distance driver. With the speed and the glide that it has, it just carries for days. And if you're kind of an average arm player, I really recommend the Escape. It's just a really great disc. I can also throw this thing for nice kind of more stable turnovers that won't fight as hard to the right, or maybe kind of pan out at the end, which the Furies kind of like to just finish hard right. Or I also have had good success with this thing with a more stable roller that will hold and not roll over to the right and finish out as fast as the Furies will. Great disc. Okay, distance drivers. My most thrown distance drivers by far are Thrashers. I have 4 different ones and 4 different plastics right now in my bag. They're all beautiful. They all fly great. Just a tremendous disc. I love the Thrasher so much. Okay, let's start with this one. The newest one in the bag is this Swirly ESP. Really beautiful disc. Love this thing. Great feel. It's pretty flat. There's some flight numbers for the Thrasher on this edition too, the newer run. 166 grams on this one, so it's right around the mid 160s, 165, 166. This thing is really flippy. Really flippy. It rolls easy. It holds a turnover really easy. I can start it on hyzer. If I throw it hard, it'll still completely work over. But it bombs, and it's really effective for like a super flippy utility distance driver type shot. I really like this thing. I'm finding good use for it out there on longer shots. Uphill distance, it worked out great. Downhill distance, it worked out really good. It's working great. I just got to get it dialed in, and it's really functional and useful in a lot of different ways. It's a very unique disc. Tons of turn, but it still works really nice and has use out there. Goes far. This one is the Big Z. This is probably the farthest flying one I've had, although they all go really far, so it's hard to say. Leading up to the ESP, this one was my crusher, and it's 170 grams flat. This one just bombs for days. I love the Big Z feel. It goes really far. This one is a little bit flippier. I can get it to hold a turnover if I want to, and it goes really, really far. Great flyer. Love that thing. But it's pretty close to this one. This is a 165, I believe, as well. Yeah, right in the mid 160s. A little bit gummy, super pearly, just unbelievable. I love this thing. So beautiful. Such a great feel. And this one just crushes. This one goes really far as well, and it's really straight. It's pretty straight stable as well. I haven't had a lot of issues with it turning over accidentally. That's one of the things I like about the Thrasher. I don't flip them more than I want to very much. That ESP, certainly, but the Z and the Big Z, I can control them really well, and they crush. So I love that thing. I throw that thing a lot. And then I have this one as well. This is an ESP Glow Thrasher. Now this disc I'm kind of retesting again to see if maybe I don't need to continue carrying the Thrashers and my Trespass. You guys know I love this Trespass, this old pre-Sweden Trespass. I probably had this longer than any other driver in my bag, but I feel like these are pretty similar ultimately. So I kind of want to get back out and test them again side by side and see if I'm right about that, and see if I really need to have both. I might be able to just eliminate a mold and carry 4 different Thrashers, but I might keep this one in. It's a great flyer. I still love it and trust it. I have a bunch of backups for this one too, so it's kind of a good disc to keep around. We'll see. Something I'm testing. Also, got a couple more distance drivers. Oh, I also have a Criminal. I usually keep this Criminal on the underside of my cart. I basically don't throw it. I almost kind of would just take it out of the bag, but it's not bothering me, riding on the bottom shelf of my Easy Cart. And if I need it, it's a great disc for certain situations, but I really haven't, I couldn't tell you the last time I had to break it out, honestly. Finally, I have 2 Gladiators. I have a Pop Top recycled line, Feldberg Gladiator, and then I have the Next Gen edition. I am throwing these for headwinds and distance overstable shots. They're really overstable for me, for sure. I don't get much natural turn out of them, and they have a strong fade, but they still get good distance because they're pretty fast. The thing I really like about them is that they just have a great feel in the hand. This one in particular, nice and flat. It cuts through the air nice. It fights the headwind for me really well, and it just has a really nice, comfortable, rounded outer profile on this disc. Great, great feel in the hand. Nice grippy plastic to this Next Gen Deco die. Love this thing. Flies great into the headwind for me. And again, even though it's overstable for sure for my arm speed, these are both real overstable. This one will hang up in the air a little bit longer before it fades out, but they're both quite beefy. They still get good distance based on their speed, and I like that a lot. Hoping to break this one in to get more distance out of it before that fade kicks in. That's my bag for right now. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.